What's up? It's your boy King B here with the King Truth Show, and I miss you guys, and I'm glad to be back. I wanted to touch on a couple different things, with the election where it is today. Electors sent in their I guess votes per se to get the Electoral College win. Today, in my mind, is the first day that Biden is president-elect. Look, the hypocrisy is one of the things that bothers me most about the politics in general, about Democrats, about Republicans. I'm very turned off by certain things that the Republican Party's doing, certain things that the GOP is doing, certain things that many people who claim to be conservative are doing. I am very, I don't want to say disappointed. I don't know if that's the right word, but I wanted to go over some things about Trump today. Now that he's not running for office any longer, and he was our president for 4 years, there's some things I want to go through: the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not like a lot of people out there. A lot of people out there who don't know much about politics, and they're pretty new to it. A lot of it, the coronavirus situation brought a lot of new people into politics. And when you're new into politics, what happens is people feel like you have to be on a team, right? It's like you're a Dolphins fan or a Colts fan or a Niners fan. And so everything with that team, you can be either a hater in that team where you just hate all the other teams, or you can critique yours, but really be like a fanboy. You can have those colored glasses on. And I feel like it's most important to have honest, true discussion, because Republicans have to be honest with themselves. Democrats have to be honest with themselves. For instance, right now, I think it's so funny to have the Democrats and me hearing Republicans say, Joe Biden is not my president, which is the same thing that Republicans said when Obama got elected if they didn't vote for him. And it's the same thing that Democrats said for 4 years while whining and dragging their feet and complaining and saying things such as the election was stolen and Russia, which, in case you guys didn't know, this is kind of an interesting little factoid right here. We'll go ahead and bring this up on the share screen. Is that, the CIA told Obama, this is before Trump beat Hillary, that Hillary conjured up a Trump-Russia story. So, this is one of the reasons why I don't like Obama. Obama was a fraud. Yes, he was president. He was a fraud. He was a puppet for the left. And he didn't care about having America be a great country. He didn't. Now, the argument can be made that he felt like Trump was going to be so catastrophic to America that he was willing to be dishonest for it. I don't buy that train of thought. So the fact that the CIA told Obama that Hillary was conjuring up this story, and then he just stayed and shut his mouth and allowed them to run with this bullcrap narrative. There were so many people that are even friends of mine that lied to themselves, and they wanted to believe that this Russia scandal wasn't just trumped up garbage. Well, now we know that it was. And I knew it was. I tried to tell people wouldn't listen. The fact is that there was never any, real cleats to that story. Nothing that could stick in the ground and move anything. It was just crap, Yet those same people will say that there's nothing to the amount of, I hate the term election fraud, and I'm going to tell you why. Let me ask you guys a question. You got to be real with yourselves when you answer this. Is O.J. Simpson a murderer? The answer most people will come up with is yes. But is it convicted murderer? The answer is no. Well, there was fraud. There's no convicted fraud per se. You're never going to be able to convince any person that is logical, sound mind, body, that's going to agree that a group of ballots come in and they're 200,000 to 1,000. It just doesn't work like that. Anybody that understands numbers will tell you that there was something going on there that's not right. You'd have to come up with some excuses and reasons as to why. But with that being said, what are you going to do? Like, what is the Republicans' play here? Are the Republicans going to act like they can just, they always have this big idea. You have these people who support Q, and they're like, oh, if it's all a big setup and Trump's scheming people and he's going to show everybody. And that's never been my point ever on any of my shows. I've always kind of on those types of things because I stay in the real life. Okay. In real life, you have an election, and when Biden becomes president on January, whatever it is, 9th, he's going to be the president of the United States. So I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, it's up to the states to be able to control if they can't get good and solid elections, then the people need to hold those states accountable and those state representatives accountable. And we do need to have legit, sorry, hold on. I just want to make sure I got my water here. Legit elections. I mean, we've gone to wars for less. So it's very important that we have good elections. Kudos to Donald Trump. He got more votes than had ever been gotten by a incumbent president ever, by a long shot. He, if I was his campaign manager, he would have checked all the boxes. It's like a basketball game where or a boxing match where you tell the person, hey, this is what you got to do. You land all the punches you were supposed to throw. You threw all the punches you were supposed to throw, and you get a crappy decision. That's pretty much how I can equate this. Now, let me get on some things that I'm not happy with Donald Trump with. First of all, the way that he handled this, I wish that he would have taken a more hardline stance on having a very short, concise shutdown. And I kind of talked about this way back when the coronavirus first started, and it hadn't even reached pandemic yet. And I said at this point, it's not a pandemic because it wasn't. And I said that it could become, but the best way to do it would be to quarantine old people. I actually said children too, because we didn't know the vulnerabilities at that time. And strict quarantine on them and let it run through healthy society. I actually think that would have been a better way to do it. We can look at the coronavirus numbers right now. The death rates are low. Okay. It is a real virus. Most people have never said it's not real. It did become an election hoax because there's not a side that had the right answer on this. So the idea that, if this guy was president or if this guy was president, then it would have worked out better. That's not reality. So right now we have 310,000 deaths. We have 17 million cases, which means that the death rate, which for a while was upwards of 5%, 5% would have put us at about 900,000 deaths. We're at 3, so we're a third of that. We're a lot closer to 2%, actually just a hair under 2%. This is a real virus, and unfortunately, it is a thinning of the herd. It is. I'm sorry if that hurts feelings. I'm sorry if people feel that's insensitive. There's people that pass away. It could have been me. If my systems aren't the right way, it thins the herd. Unfortunately, maybe you guys don't watch enough science programs, but that type of stuff happens. It just does. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything about it, but we've seen that masks have not helped. We've seen areas that have high usage of masks, and it is a pandemic. It is a virus that is very contagious. It is going to move through, and it seems to have moved through a second time, which I found very fascinating. I'm wondering how that is. Now, maybe it was through the first group of people, and then now it's making it through the next group of people. But things are going to cycle through, and I'm wondering, where the numbers are. Again, I'm most fascinated about 3-4 years from now, looking at the total amount of dead and saying, hey, what was the real death numbers here? But I think that, it's interesting how when Trump fast-tracked this virus, he fast-tracked this virus to the point where so many people out there, Democrats, saying, I'm not taking it, I'm not taking it. But then today, it's almost through. I believe Pfizer said that they can go ahead and get it out there now. And the vast, vast majority of Democrats say they're willing to take it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not. I've had it. I don't want the virus. I'm certainly not going to be first in line to take the virus. I've said this from the beginning. I will take the virus once everyone else is taking the virus. Once the vaccine, sorry. And I'm not taking the vaccine until everybody in Congress takes the vaccine. So if everybody in Congress takes the vaccine and their families take it, then I'll take it. And here's some things that I wanted to go through as well. Now that Trump's not our president anymore, things that I wish that Trump would have done that he did not do. I really wish he would have brought more to the front and center, who stands where on what. And what I mean by that is when it comes to the advice, he's somebody that's very trusting. And then, he says he has all these things, all this information. And now is the time. Like, I want to see it. I want to see where he was getting the information from, what other things are kind of behind that curtain that he can show in terms of what China has done. Because I'm very concerned about what we are going to do moving forward with the Chinese virus and how we are going to talk to China and how that's going to end up getting worked out. I'm not a pro-war guy, but I do think we need to work something out there, because one of the things that everybody's talking about right now is the stimulus talks. Okay. And in the stimulus talks, I'm telling everybody here, make sure you're watching this. Okay. The stimulus checks are not going to help the poor people. Okay. They're not. Don't get me wrong. It's great. You're going to get an extra $2,500 or something like that. It is just going to set you up for failure. And I'm going to tell you, the stimulus check, watch where most of the money goes. I assure you, most of the money goes to these big corporations. Most of the money is going to go to other organizations that are not going to help you. They're not. See, it's one of the basic principles of being a conservative against being a liberal, is that liberals think giving you a couple dollars helps you. And conservatives should believe that teaching you certain things. It's kind of like do you give somebody a fish or give them a fishing pole? And it's crazy because I thought everybody heard that story, but yet I didn't know that in my class, all the liberals were going, well, damn, just give them a fish. Because people that were raised by one parent or two parents that feel like they should just give their kids everything have created an entitlement mentality that just doesn't work. It doesn't. No matter what you're given, you're going to have to earn it. Now, that's not to say that there's not people out there who don't work really hard that have been very successful. They do. And there's not to say that people that have been given nothing, also can't grind, and it's not harder for them. It is. And they should be able to get some sort of help. I'm not against help. What I am against is I am against the idea that giving a fish to somebody is going to help. And that's literally what we're doing right here with the stimulus package. Now, I'm going to be honest with everybody. Full disclosure, the stimulus package is going to help me. It's going to help my company. It's probably going to help us more than it's going to help a kid that lives on the South Side. Okay? And that can be South Side of Chicago, South Side of Detroit, South Side of DC, South Side of Anacostia, South Side of Baltimore, okay, South Side of Valdosta. Those people that need it most are not going to get, they're going to get a couple of coins. They're getting a couple of things thrown out to them to ensure that they can come back later and go, remember who gave you the 2 bags of chips and the flat screen TV? They're not going to be telling you, remember who gave you the job. And that's what I'm most worried about for the next 4 years. I wish Trump would have done a better job of articulating that. I wish that Trump would have done a better job of articulating how job creation is better than checks handed out. And unfortunately, he probably doomed himself when he did the last stimulus. Stimulus wasn't buying anybody's votes. Okay, I don't care if you put your name on it or not. That stimulus check, who still has money from that stimulus check? I do. You know who doesn't still have money from that stimulus check? The poorest of people out there. They don't. And it's not because they're stupid or they just decided to spend it. It's because they needed it, so they spent it. So you could immediately think, well, then just give them more. That's not the solution. And I wish Trump would have been a better speaker to be able to illustrate that this big stimulus plan is just going to load up our debt. Then we're going to blame it on COVID. We're going to start getting this basic income, which is what I'm very worried about. And we're going to transition to a more socialist society. All the cones are in a line that way. And I'm pissed off at Trump. Another thing is that don't come at me with election fraud after the election. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's like losing a game and then complaining about the judges when you knew the judges ahead of time. And it's almost like the judges worked for you and then you allowed them to judge your fight and then you complain that they sucked. Trump, Republicans, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because you guys knew the Dominion systems have been used in these other countries and all that. Miss me with that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. Maybe it did. There's a whole bunch of skeptical stuff out there. Pulling ballots from underneath tables, dismissing people, keeping certain people. On election night, I had an issue with that. But these are the systems that you allowed in place and that you were the president of the United States. You didn't get it done. You should have had a better, more streamlined system. Now, I don't think they'll ever get a better streamlined system because they like having their finger on the pace. You know, money is most made by speculation based on what you know is going to happen. People don't put their money on bad money, chasing bad money. That's what the lower to middle income people do. The rich people take surefire bets. Why do you think people in Congress inside trade all the time? And they're allowed to. Why do they do it? Because it's a sure thing. Why do you think those people want jobs making $100,000 a year? Sorry, middle to lower income people. $100,000 a year is not this banging money that you'd want to be in that job for 40 years doing. And then somehow that person gets out in 30 years. So if they'd have saved every dollar they made, that would be $3 million. But somehow those people get out and they got $400 million. Why do you think that is? Wake up, people. Come on, man. Like, do you guys not realize that most of the big money made in this country, right? If you're a loan officer, you can make $300,000, $400,000. Why? Because the government is giving money so people don't have to put money down on their homes. Insurance companies, big insurance companies, they make a bunch of money. Why? Because they can write off the other money. And people have to buy insurance. Why do these medical things make so much money? Because the government helps fund them. Why do you think Harvard? First of all, Harvard was making so much money. The government is helping to fund Harvard. Harvard is creating viruses and sending them to the Wuhan labs. If you don't know, now you know. Like, fact check me. And not the fact checkers. I'm talking about real people with real data. It's all out there. This is true. You go around and ask all the people who are really, really wealthy. Oil. Okay, well, who dictates the ebb and flow of oil? Governments do. So the government is picking winners and losers. And instead of becoming more open market, we're becoming less open market, thinking that they're going to help you. They don't care about you. They don't. And I'm okay with them not caring about me. I've accepted that they don't care about me. And so I've tried to work and earn mine, as of so many other people. And there should be more ways. You want to help people? Help people. So now we're on to Biden. It's going to be President Biden. I'm not sure what this guy stands for. We will see. 40 years of pandering. I promise you this. Look at the amount of money this dude has right now and then check back in 4 years. One thing I can guarantee you is that the Biden family will not be going broke. Now we know that the FBI was investigating Hunter Biden, and I think still is. So why did Biden lie on stage? That's a bold-faced lie. So I don't want to hear any Trump people, anti-Trump people telling me about how Trump's a liar, blah, blah, blah. Your boy Biden lied the whole time. He said that Trump cost a whole bunch of farmers their jobs and their money because of the tariffs. And you know what he said about the tariffs? In China, you know what he said? You can look it up. He said, I'm not going to do anything about the tariffs right now. Basically, he says that Trump has put him in a strong position of negotiations, and he doesn't want to lose that position. Right. Because Trump's a good negotiator. Like I said, I'm hopeful. I want Biden to be the greatest president ever. I find it hard to believe because it's kind of like hoping that the Bengals are going to do great when they haven't done great in a long, long time. They got a long history of losing. Biden's been terrible for a long time. But, hey, do right by the people. You have a choice. Let's get some of these things straightened out. But shame, shame, shame on Obama for allowing 4 years of this fake Russian narrative that most Republicans already knew. Democrats didn't want to believe it. Now somehow they'll still not believe it, even though it's been declassified that Hillary literally did this to take it off of the scandal on the servers. Guys, none of these people are for you. If you think Republicans are Bush-loving, if you're a Bush-loving Republican, you are nothing but an Obama-loving Democrat. That's it. You're all the same group of people. I'm not those people. I can think for myself. So many things right now I wish that Trump had the opportunity to do that he did not do. Now, did he do a lot? Yes. Did he do more than any president I've ever seen? Yes. To me, he's one of the best presidents with a whole lot of things that I don't like. I wish he would have done some things. I think he thought he was going to have another 8 years. All the metrics, all the stuff said that he was going to. He killed it in the campaign. Republicans killed it in the campaign. Somehow he lost. Guess he should have done a better job at making sure that states' election systems were done a little bit better. But people are always okay if it's cheating, if it's in your favor. Democrats don't care about making sure black people vote. Don't care about making sure underprivileged people vote. Do they care? If you think they care, you're being fooled. Sorry, but you're being fooled. You think Republicans care if somehow legal black people can vote? No, they don't care. Not if they don't think you're voting for them. And Democrats don't care because they know that you're not bringing in any tax revenue. So they're going to pander to the rich like they do so that they build their money. Sorry, the poorest in the poor community are not building up the bank accounts of politicians. It's the people who claim to help them that shift money into their campaign that allow them to pay their bills and everything. So they're not looking out for the poor guy. They're looking out for the rich guy that's going to say they're going to help the poor guy as long as he feeds them too. Guys, it's all shady. It's all crap. Then we have this situation with this pandemic. What is going to help? We're stuck on this mask and getting people back together. First of all, how many people out there, be honest with yourself, how many people out there still see the mask with the vents and we know they don't work? How many times have we seen people with gaiters? We know they don't work. How many times we've seen masks with that are not medical masks that we know don't work? How many times we know people grab the mask like this and then put it back up and then touch other things? Every time. So they're not working. None of the data is showing that it's working. They're not working. Then we want to close people together in proximity. Last time we did that, death spiked, cases spiked. So what do? Sometimes the answer is nothing. Sometimes the answer is eat healthy. Sometimes the answer is quarantine inside your own home if you are at high risk. Depend on your loved ones. Be kind to your loved ones. Maybe they'll take care of you. If you've been out for yourself, don't be mad that nobody wants to help you now. Reach out to organizations that are willing to help you if you can't go anywhere or if you're at high risk. And the last thing, unfortunately, you got to be able to accept death. This goes out to everybody, myself included. My day's going to come. My dad was early 50s. Done. It happens. It is. It just is. Doesn't mean you should walk blindfolded through the street to get hit by a car. Take your precautions. But if you think the government's going to find a way to save our lives, hard pass. Hard pass on that. So I hope everybody gets a chance. Shoot this message around. Tell me what you think. Be sure to shoot up whatever comments you want into the comments section. I'm going to start doing more videos. I appreciate the support. I know I had it on my other channel, so now I'm trying it here. It's going to be new. It's going to be slow growing. I'm going to try to stick to it. I appreciate each and every person who watches. Share your opinion. Feel free to jump on whenever you want. Hit me up. We can certainly debate about certain topics. On sports for the last couple of minutes, Dolphins got 3 games left. Let's go ahead. We got the Patriots this week. Finish strong. My prediction at the beginning of the season was 9-7. So we'll see how close I hit there. I've been very, very close. At the end of the season, maybe I'll put up the message that I sent to my brother. We do it every year before the season. I'll show you all the wins and losses. I've been almost dead on all season. So doesn't always happen like that, but it's looked good so far. All right, everybody. Thanks for the support. Love you guys. King Beef out.